we are back, and we just finished
1982's.
Thanks, Jay. Poltergeist, rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 54 minutes. This was playing on the TCM app, and it goes away today, but you can buy or rent it on Prime. Yes, it goes away today.
Nobody cares.
On Friday. Yeah, nobody cares. But
we control time.
Yes. For $3.79, you can't beat this. This still holds up from 82. I loved it then. I love it now. And this is probably the first time I've cried. As a parent, things hit differently now. So whenever I see children in distress and familial relationships run amok, it gets me in the feels now.
Yeah, plus Carol Ann looked like one of those little dolls you used to buy from Hallmark.
Yeah, for reals.
Yeah.
For reals. I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. Can I start with you, Olive G? What did you think of Poltergeist?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
I don't know, just like an interesting story, I guess.
What would you do if you lived in that house?
Move immediately.
Move immediately is the correct answer.
Like as soon as like the chairs like stacked like that, I was like, okay, I'm out.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave now.
Yes. I mean, there wouldn't have been much of a movie, but yes, as soon as I saw the chairs do what it did in that kitchen, I would have been like, peace out. Did you have a favorite character, Olive G?
Not really.
No?
They were all stupid and dumb, and I don't.
I mean, I think that's part of like the horror.
Carol Ann was kind of
honestly,
blameless.
But like in the scene where like the monster came back again to like set them back up, she's just like sitting there in bed, just like staring, like, get out of bed and go to the door and help your brother open it. Break down the. Oh my God.
Well, she was scared. She was a little kid. She's 5 years old. She doesn't know anybody.
Still lock in. God damn it.
Lock in.
This literally happened before.
That's
Focus.
true. That's true.
Well, this is back in the 80s. Little kids weren't prepared for stuff like this. You got video games telling you all the horrors of the world and how to fight them.
Yeah, it was a different time. Kids were more innocent. You kids growing up now know way too much. But, yeah, kids back in the 80s and parenting was terrible in the 80s.
Oh, my God. They were the worst parents ever.
Yeah.
Though, like, the mom, like, in the scene where, like, the thing came back to, like, suck them up, and, like, she's trying to get into them, like, what are you doing? Why are you getting pushed around like that? Like, seriously, if I was in her situation, I would have grabbed that lamp off the table and started throwing hands with that thing.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I mean, I in their defense, I mean, this is...
No, not in their defense. You literally went to, like, limbo or something to save your daughter. You should literally be like, you should be fueled with, like, rage or something. You should be fighting these things.
But can I make a point? In their defense, like, nobody's prepared for this, right? Nobody thinks that.
You know what? Olive brings up a good point. She did get sucked into, like, limbo or whatever the hell it was.
Right.
So, yeah, she was a little prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, she's seeing ghosts. She's going through whatever hell dimension that she was in. She gets, like, basically birthed out of her ceiling.
Yeah.
Covered in God knows what. And, fighting those big skull beasts. Why not? Just, pick up the lamp and crack it over the head. See what?
Seriously?
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Seriously, though, it's basically just a head. Like, attack the legs or something. I would personally just, like, bash it over the head, just, like, knock it out.
All right. I mean, I guess you know what? Until you're in that position, no one knows how they'll react, is all I'm saying. I think that this is not a normal occurrence.
Situation.
It is not a normal situation. So I think that you kind of got to give people leeway here because everybody's sort of just winging it.
Still, she was so bad, bro. And also, like, the scene with the swimming pool. Like, she literally fell back in. Jesus Christ, how useless are you?
It was slippery and stuff. I mean, she was trying.
Dig your feet in, like Grais said. Like grab onto that. Grab onto, like, the dirt and claw your way out, Jesus.
Well, I mean, eventually the neighbor came and helped.
Yeah,
so
the neighbor
came.
Yeah, finally the neighbor is useful.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Also, Tangina, the little woman, played by the always fabulous Zelda Rubenstein, she said this house is clean, but it wasn't.
Yeah, she didn't know what she was talking about.
Exactly. So
Yeah, well, that's because you should never trust old ladies that sound like children.
Yeah. Craig T. Nelson should hunt her down and just start wailing on her.
well, my thing is, why the hell was he at work so late that the kids were going to bed? Because they were supposed to go to the hotel that night.
I would
They were
definitely.
supposed to go to a hotel.
So Steve should go in the corner.
I would definitely say the last 10 minutes of the film, everybody's IQ dropped precipitously. And
nice use of the word.
yes, precipitous. I got some good. I know all the words. The best words.
Stop yourself, please.
But yeah, everybody got really dumb at the end of the movie. I mean, you kind of need that because you want to have the big climax, and it's sort of like if they actually did do the rational thing and leave immediately, you wouldn't have had that.
Gee, what did you think of the film?
It was okay.
Just okay?
I guess it was entertaining. It was long.
You had a problem with the length, right?
Yeah.
What
I
could
don't
have
know. I just don't like when movies are 2 hours long.
What could have made it better? Like, what could they have taken out, you think, that would have made you like this more?
I don't know. I don't really like the question, what could have made this better, because I don't ever know how to answer it.
I'm sorry.
I don't really think of that during the film. I just think, oh, I didn't really like it. And then it kind of leaves my head, and I just remember that I didn't like something about the film.
All right, fair enough. What did you think of the Teague character?
He was in the film for like 5 minutes.
Fair, but you come to find out something important to the story.
This film's
Yeah.
40 years old. I think we could say what's going on.
42 years.
This movie is old enough to
Yeah.
have like a wife and kids.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Like, there's no real point.
All right, I guess we can spoil it.
Yeah, the Teague, the greedy,
Played by
the
James
greedy
Karen,
construction
the-
industrialist, played by the Pathmark guy,
James Cameron. It was a
Cameron.
big character actor in his day.
built the whole community on top of a graveyard and didn't move the
Several
bodies.
graveyards,
Yes.
it seems like.
So there you go. There's the big.
So that's probably why he got this land cheap, I'm assuming.
Maybe.
And then I guess he made a pact to move these coffins.
Move the graves, but he only moved the headstones.
But he only moved the because I'm sure it's cheaper to just move the headstones and
Oh yeah,
build on top.
the thing in construction that's way most expensive is just digging.
yeah,
Yeah.
terrible, terrible,
So bad Pathmark guy.
bad, always. I always remember him in that All in the Family episode where what is it?
He was like the head of the KKK or something.
yeah, or
wasn't he?
something. And then
He's got that
Lionel.
friendly voice, but he's always plays evil dudes.
Well, I mean, I think it goes back and forth. I think his career it was a mix, but I always remember that episode. Gee, did you have any favorite character, or did you like any of the characters in this film?
I mean, I didn't really dislike any. They all got on my nerves at some point, but not enough to the point where it was like, oh, I hope that guy dies or whatever.
What did you think of Diane, the mom, played by JoBeth Williams?
She was okay.
What about Carol Ann, played by the lovely Heather O'Rourke?
She was in the film for like 20 minutes.
What'd you like about the movie?
I mean, the plot was entertaining.
The
So
subject,
I like that. It wasn't about anything stupid like vampire romance or whatever. So,
I'm going to force everyone to watch Twilight at some
No.
point.
so yeah, I didn't really mind. I like that, like poltergeist, ghosts, whatever. I enjoy supernatural stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So I liked the plot of the film. It was good. And the characters were okay, so I liked some of them. Like Carol Ann was in the film for a little bit, but I didn't have a problem with her. She was a 5-year-old. I didn't have a problem with any of the kids.
Robbie or Dana?
Dana's her name? Yeah, she was in the film for... I'm surprised they even had the older sister. I didn't really see, like, her relevance to the plot. She's
Yeah.
barely in the film.
Yeah.
That sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened to her either, which I'm not, like, upset about.
I mean, I felt like she was going to have a nervous breakdown.
She should have gotten kidnapped, too. I didn't feel like that. But, yeah, nothing happened to her, so she was kind of unimportant.
How'd you like those special effects?
Those groovy special effects. from
I mean,
82.
it was 1982. You can't really expect anything better.
They weren't egregious, right? They were okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I thought the big head coming out of the closet was cool,
Yeah.
and the skull beast at the top of the staircase. That one I always liked. The one that
Yeah.
Olive said should have been beaten by a lamp. But.
Yeah. If I'm sure if they made this movie like now, like the exact same, it would look more polished. But it's not
But
terrible.
they did make it. We've never seen it though. But
Oh.
it didn't do well. I don't think.
As far as I know, it didn't do well. Yeah, I think there was. It's one of those films where it's like, I think there was a remake with Sam Rockwell, but now I'm wondering, was that the Amityville Horror? But no, that one was
That
with
was
Ryan Reynolds.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like people you don't expect to be in remakes of horror films made remakes of horror films.
So this movie is tagged as supernatural horror thriller.
That sounds about right.
It and kind of to G's point, yeah, there's definitely more attention paid to, I guess, vampires, and in recent years, zombies is like the du jour monster. But it's always nice to get a good ghost story, I think, because I think ghost stories are enduring.
They're rare. It's rare to get a good one.
A good one, right?
Yeah.
So when
I think
when one happens,
the last
it's
couple
good.
of times. The last couple of times they've done ghost stories, it was mainly like, ooh, look at our special effects.
Sure.
And they really weren't providing that fantastic a story behind it.
Mm-hmm. But
So
I feel like this endures.
this was good. This was
Yeah.
good. Like I said, it is a product of its time.
Sure.
You're gonna find the holes in it. Like I said, the absolute nosedive in IQ as far as everybody at the end of the movie, but you go with it because it's like, oh, this is a fun ride. It's also, like I said, it's a product of the times. The beginning is a bit slow. It starts off a little slow. They're building up to this. And I'm wondering, gee, you closed your eyes for a bit. Was the beginning of the film just a little too slow for you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
I wish that things had picked up faster. Like at the end, everything was happening and everything was like exploding and whatever.
Yeah, it's like once like you saw the chairs, then it started picking up.
Yeah,
right?
it was gradual. I wish that that night that they had the medium over Zelda or whatever, that after she said, "Oh, this place is clean," that something started acting up again, so that it could have just been wrapped up after that. I was kind of annoyed because she's like, after she said it's clean, I was like, "Is it?" Because I just kind of wanted the movie to be over.
You know what? That's probably a decent point, and I think it probably would have been hilarious if she was like, adjusting her hair for the camera, and she just goes, "This house is clean," and then a giant skull beast just devours her.
I thought that's what was gonna happen. I would have liked that, and I thought it might have been like similar to earlier in the film when the three people that come over. They're like sitting at the table and she's like, well, it's hard to determine that your house is haunted, and then something like immediately starts moving in front of her of its own like a cord. So I like that. I thought that was funny. I wish that like something similar had happened near the end where she was like, this house is clean, and it's not. And then after that, the house could have like eaten itself or whatever, and they just go on with their lives.
So I just want to point out two quick little things from IMDb, and I guess some trivia here. Credits. It's kind of funny. I didn't realize this. After the credits and the logo of the MGM Lion is shown, we hear children laughing. Fans of the film have assumed that the laughing children are those that have been released from the beast and have crossed over the threshold into the next life. And then another little fun piece of trivia. For ABC's 1985 network television premiere, Marty's hallucination is altered, so instead of him ripping his own face off, he sees his face rapidly deteriorating. This
I like the
sounds
scene where he has the
vaguely
hallucination.
familiar to me. I guess I'm sure I've seen this on TV.
That does seem vaguely familiar.
Familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that when you see it on the film where he's ripping,
He's
it's
ripping
funny,
off clumps of his skin.
his skin
yeah.
off. But it's kind of funny when I'm watching that scene. I always think of how fake it looks, and then like I think about like Terminator when he's
Yeah.
cleaning out his
Is it-
eye.
It's the same. You're dealing with the same
Same
thing
kind
where
of
it's
production
like
company
some
doing
guy's
that.
hands are wrapped around this dummy head.
Yeah.
And it's like it just doesn't quite line up the
No,
right way.
no. But I mean, you're willing to forgive it. And
Yeah,
I guess
it's
back in it, I mean, this movie was the faux shizzle in 82, right? Like, I remember seeing this movie multiple times in the theater.
I remember seeing it in the theater with my grandma from California. And it was like a special visit, and we all saw that, and we saw E.T., which.
Oh, right, because they said
They
E.T.
came out like a month apart
later.
from each other or something like that.
Yeah, so this, we saw this again on the TCM app. We got a little backstory from Dave Karger and Ben Mankiewicz. I think the prevailing thing was that both Tobe Hooper and Steven Spielberg, who's not a director, but is a writer and producer for this, wanted lesser known actors in the mix.
You could believe that who knows? I've never seen this actor before. They could probably just be killed.
Right, exactly.
Whereas
So, I mean,
big
that
name actors
totally
would
makes
be like-
sense.
Didn't they also say they wanted it to be like more of a realistic family?
Right,
Yes.
right, exactly. So this was released June 4th of 1982. So right around the end of the school season. So yeah, I remember seeing this in the theater and like almost wetting myself.
Oh yeah, for a little kid. I mean, I was a little kid and I was scared.
I mean,
I
I
was
jump
legit scared.
and the stupid clown scene. I was like, I know what's gonna happen, and yet I'm still acting like I don't know what's gonna happen, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, I think that may. You know what? I think that may have been the visit from my grandparents where they woke up in the middle of the night and just started going to the house with like a cross,
Blessing
like
everything,
chanting in Spanish prayer. You've been to Grandma and Grandpa's house, G. You know it's
creepy.
It could be spooky.
Yeah.
Really spooky.
Imagine being there after watching Poltergeist and being on the third floor.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there was a 2 and the 3. The budget on this was $10 million. Opening weekend was only $6 million, but the worldwide gross on this puppy from a $10 million investment was $77 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
More than doubled its budget.
More than
That-
doubled.
Yeah.
7 times its
It's
budget.
7 times its budget.
Septupled.
Yeah. So I don't remember the second one. I think I only
The
saw
second
the first
one.
one.
The second one was with you.
Oh, no, I did see it. I did see that one.
That guy.
I didn't mind it. You didn't like it?
No, it was a terrible movie, but the only thing good about it was
That guy.
that old preacher guy who was
And then
like
they-
apparently like while they were filming, he was dying of cancer. That's why he looked the way he did.
And then there was like an Indian guy who was like in stuff. Was he the guy
Yeah.
who was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? That guy?
I
No.
think so.
And Zelda was back in it, or she wasn't. I don't remember.
I think she appears for a bit, but then she sort of like does the handoff to the Indian dude.
Okay, because he's
And-
the one
and
that
then-
helps
and
them.
then-
Was Dr. Lesh in it again? That other lady?
I don't remember. She may have been, but I don't remember her. I remember Craig T. Nelson was definitely in it because
Was the wife in it? She must have been.
maybe it was Craig T. Nelson. The daughter was definitely in it. I don't know about the son.
The older daughter, I think, was dead at this point.
I remember the older daughter had died already.
Yeah.
I just remember Craig T. Nelson drinking tequila and vomiting up a worm that ended up turning into the old man. It like turned to him and had that creepy ass smile that old preacher had. You're all gonna die.
Oh my God, that is the
He
funniest thing.
He looked like what is it, like early 2000s Madonna?
Yes. Yes.
It was like she saw him,
And just emulated
was
that
like,
look.
I want
I'm
that
bringing
style.
this back.
I'm taking
Yes.
that fit.
This was directed again, as we said, by Tobe Hooper, who is famous for Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And Life Force.
And Life Force, yes,
Life
yes. Again, this was partially written by Steven Spielberg and produced by Steven Spielberg, who did not make this film, but sometimes people, I think, get confused. He had previously done Indiana Jones, which was magnificent, and because he was starting production, or he was in post-production, obviously, of E.T., because that came out a little while after this, he gave up directing this. But I think Tobe Hooper did a really great job. I don't know what urban legend is that there was a battle of the directors, but I think Tobe Hooper did a fantastic job. It's not like a beautifully photographed film, but it is nicely done. The effects are good. Again, with eyes in 2024, obviously some of that's dated, but for a 1982 audience, this was
a spectacle.
Amazingly done. Amazingly done. Yeah, and I feel like for a film from back then, it still holds up. The story's impactful. You really like the characters. I mean, at least I did. For a younger audience, I guess you want a little bit more, but a 10-year-old me loved it. I won't age myself, but whatever age I am now, loves it too. So, although you could sort of figure it out if I just said 10-year-old, right? Haha. All right, whatever. Did I get your impressions?
Yeah, I mean the same for me. I saw it when I was a little kid, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
What did you think of it now?
It still holds up.
Yeah.
It still holds up. Like I said,
critique?
The beginning is slower than I remember, but I guess I was just more tolerant of that when I was a little boy, because that's how everything was.
Right. There was
now the way they do a movie is within the first 5 minutes there is the hook that gets you where something happens, like somebody's head explodes or somebody gets kidnapped or a car goes flying off a cliff, and then you have like the bit of build up. You have like maybe 10-15 minutes of build up, and then you're into it. This one, there's probably 20 minutes of just getting to know this family as they are living in this suburban community. They're arguing with the neighbors over the remote control, and the little kids are getting ready for school and all this other stuff. The construction guys building the pool, looking in the window and eating the sauce out of the pot like an animal.
What did people do that? Like, how annoying is that? I was like, what in the hell?
It's supposed to be like a little suburban town, and I think that...
And she knew the guy by name,
Yeah, she
right?
knew the guy by name, and I think that's sort of the point of that whole section of the thing. It's supposed to be like kind of lulling you into this, this is just going to be some sort of quirky, maybe family drama, has a little bit of humor in there. And then after you get like the chair bit, they're friendly ghosts. And then it just turns into just horror. That terrible clown doll, the closet that's eating everything, the freaking tree. I don't know how that tree even was outside the house.
Did they cut it down after that whole experience? They should have.
It got sucked into a tornado.
Oh, that's right. It got, yes. So it wasn't there afterwards, right.
Yeah, that didn't suck anything else. It just sucked the evil tree into the tornado. I would definitely say it holds up. With older eyes, you see the flaws that you forgave as a child, the kind of 80s special effects, once again, the incredible drop in intelligence by the people at the end. The thing that made that part worse was as he's leaving to go tell his boss off, he's telling her, yeah, we're leaving tonight. Yet she basically has the kids in bed in their pajamas.
Yeah.
And she goes to take a bath. How do you relax in that house after you were just sucked through a hole into the afterlife?
Yeah.
You don't just, I'm going to dye my hair now.
Yeah, and just relax in the tub.
Yeah, while my kids play in the same bedroom
where all this shit went down.
There was just like you couldn't even open the door without hearing like roar.
Yeah. And things are flying. Remember when Dr. Lush first comes and things
are flying. There's like the closet just turns into like a vortex. And it's just unknown. It's just sort of, hey kids, why don't you go play in your bedroom?
One visit and that house traumatized that Marty guy.
Yeah.
He's like, Marty's not coming back.
It's like you have like a wood chipper in the bedroom, and you're just like, hey kids, why don't you play in the room with the wood chipper?
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? So yeah, there are little bits where you're just sort of like, that's a little dumb.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say it definitely it holds up. This is, we say it often that sometimes films are best living in nostalgia. This, you could revisit it.
Yeah.
It's not going to destroy your memory of a good time.
I'd be curious to see. I'm pretty sure they did a remake. I'd be curious to see how that holds up. I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. I'm going to start with myself. This is a great walk down memory lane. I have such good memories of seeing it the first time. I have such great memories of sharing this now with my kids. I don't think they hated it. I know G would have liked something a little bit faster paced, maybe tighter story, but I still think that all in all, my kids enjoyed it. So I also enjoy sharing that kind of stuff with my kids. So I think the story, like you mentioned, holds up, still strong. Again, we don't really get a lot of good ghost stories, so it's nice to see that kind of genre being explored here. There's a bit of humor. It's definitely a snapshot of the 80s, early 80s. So I'm going to give this an 8.5. What say you?
I'd probably just give this an 8.
Okay, fair enough.
It's good. It holds up.
Has some weak bits,
the weak bits don't bother me. It's just sort of like I accept it as what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't hurt the overall story. I thought the family was very good. I agree with Gia. I don't know why there was an older sister in the movie at all.
Yeah, she's not really utilized
probably
very
could have
much.
shaved off a couple of minutes by just not having her in it at all.
G, 1 to 10, what would you give this?
Even though I have like my gripes about it, it was still entertaining. So I'll give it like a 7.
7. What about you, Olive G?
7.5.
7.5, 7.5, 8, 8.5. I think it's a safe bet to say, go check out Poltergeist from 1982. You will not be disappointed. This is to buy rent on Prime Video. Only $3.79, folks. Can't go wrong. And with that, we will bid you all a
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
good night.